What happens when authentic confidence, emotional intelligence, and strategic vulnerability work together? The result is something greater than the sum of its parts, a magnetic presence that draws others to you, regardless of physical appearance. Each quality on its own creates a form of attraction, but when integrated, they create a synergy that transforms ordinary interactions into meaningful connections. This integration doesn't happen automatically. It requires intentional development and practice to ensure these elements complement rather than contradict each other. Integration means these qualities work as a unified system rather than separate components. When properly balanced, they create a seamless presence that others experience as authentic and appealing. Someone with integrated qualities moves fluidly between showing confidence, demonstrating understanding, and sharing appropriately, creating attraction that feels earned rather than engineered. Balancing these elements presents a significant challenge because overemphasizing any one quality while neglecting others creates an unbalanced presence that diminishes attraction. Many people excel in one area but struggle in others, creating lopsided interactions. Consider Mark, a tech executive I coached who possessed tremendous technical confidence but struggled to connect with his team. His presentations impressed but never inspired loyalty. Through practicing integrated presence, learning to read emotional cues while maintaining his confident expertise, and selectively sharing his own challenges, he transformed his leadership. His team now describes him as confident but approachable, and someone who really gets us. When confidence exists without emotional intelligence, the impression often reads as cold or arrogant. Without the ability to read others' emotional responses and adjust accordingly, confident behavior feels imposing rather than inspiring. Their confidence registers as self-absorption because it lacks the attunement that makes others feel valued. The opposite imbalance, emotional intelligence without confidence, creates a different problem. When someone reads others accurately but lacks the confidence to express their own perspectives, they often come across as people-pleasing. Others may initially appreciate their responsiveness, but eventually sense the incompleteness of the exchange, missing the solidity that confidence provides. Vulnerability without proper balance creates similarly problematic impressions. Without confidence, vulnerability often reads as insecurity, sharing that seeks validation rather than connection. This type of sharing often feels heavy, creating obligation rather than reciprocity. Equally problematic is confidence paired with emotional intelligence, but lacking appropriate vulnerability. This combination can create an impression of being calculated or unapproachable. The person may navigate social situations with apparent ease, but remain fundamentally unknowable, creating a sense that others can never truly connect with them. A practical integration framework allows you to develop these qualities simultaneously. This approach recognizes that these elements naturally reinforce each other. Confidence makes vulnerability possible. Vulnerability makes emotional intelligence more effective, and emotional intelligence refines confidence in socially appropriate ways. Specific exercises that develop multiple triggers simultaneously prove particularly effective. Confident vulnerability practices involve sharing authentic thoughts from a place of self-assurance rather than need. For example, expressing an unpopular opinion while remaining open to others' perspectives demonstrates both confidence in your viewpoint and vulnerability in acknowledging its potential imperfection. Emotionally intelligent assertiveness combines clear expression of your needs with attunement to others' emotional responses. This integration allows for maintaining your perspective without losing connection, creating respect while preserving rapport. Mindful self-disclosure represents another integrated practice, combining awareness of context with authentic sharing. This practice involves revealing appropriate aspects of yourself while remaining attentive to the other person's receptiveness. The resulting disclosure is both authentic and attuned, creating connection without crossing boundaries. Different personality types require different approaches to integration. Introverts can apply these principles by leveraging their natural strengths while expanding comfort zones gradually. Rather than attempting to dominate social situations, introverts can express quiet confidence through thoughtful contributions, selective vulnerability, and deep listening. Extroverts face different integration challenges, particularly the tendency to emphasize confidence and vulnerability without sufficient emotional intelligence. Developing the patience to attend fully to others' emotional states before responding helps extroverts create more balanced interactions. Daily practices transform ordinary presence into magnetic attraction. A particularly effective integration ritual. Combines reflective questions addressing each element. Before significant interactions, asking yourself, what do I confidently bring to this situation? Establishes your foundation. Following with, what might others be feeling or needing? Activates emotional intelligence. Completing with, what appropriate sharing might create connection? Prepares for strategic vulnerability. Another daily practice involves integration feedback, regularly assessing which elements need adjustment in specific contexts. After interactions, noting whether you expressed appropriate confidence, demonstrated understanding, and shared authentically helps identify patterns of imbalance. This awareness allows for targeted adjustments that gradually create more integrated presence. These integrated practices create magnetic attraction that works effectively across various relationship contexts, from professional environments to romantic relationships. By developing these elements as an integrated system rather than isolated traits, you create a presence that naturally attracts
beyond beauty,
others, based on
lasting
authentic
power of
connection
psychological
rather
attraction.
than superficial appeal.
Why
Why do these psychological qualities create more enduring attraction than physical beauty ever could? The answer lies in how our brains process different forms of attraction and what creates lasting neural imprints. If you've ever noticed how your perception of someone changes over time, you've experienced firsthand the different trajectories of physical versus psychological attraction. Physical beauty might catch our attention initially, but something entirely different keeps us connected over time. Research on the longevity of different forms of attraction reveals a consistent pattern across cultures and relationship types. A longitudinal study tracking couples over 20 years found that initial physical attraction showed almost no correlation with long-term relationship satisfaction or stability. In contrast, psychological connection, particularly the presence of mutual understanding, appropriate vulnerability, and consistent reliability, strongly predicted which relationships would thrive decades later. We invest tremendous energy into physical appearance despite its diminishing returns while undervaluing qualities that create lasting connection. Think of physical attraction as a bright flare that illuminates everything intensely, but inevitably burns out, while psychological attraction resembles a sunrise that gradually bathes everything in increasingly warm, enduring light. Our culture remains obsessed with physical appearance despite mounting evidence favoring psychological qualities. We spend billions annually on products promising to enhance physical appearance, even as research consistently demonstrates that genuine connection develops through psychological qualities available to anyone regardless of appearance. The science of hedonic adaptation explains part of this puzzle. Your brain naturally adapts to consistent stimuli, becoming less responsive over time. Physical attraction follows this pattern almost perfectly. Features that initially triggered strong responses gradually lose their impact through repeated exposure. Brain scans show diminished activation in reward centers when viewing the same attractive face repeatedly. This adaptation isn't a failure, but simply your brain's normal efficiency process. Psychological attraction follows a remarkably different neurological pattern. Qualities like authentic confidence, emotional intelligence, and appropriate vulnerability create deepening connection over time. Each demonstration of these qualities adds to a cumulative impression of trustworthiness that strengthens with familiarity. Your brain doesn't habituate to feeling understood, respected, and emotionally safe. These experiences build upon each other, creating stronger association patterns with each positive interaction. These psychological triggers also create fundamentally different neurochemical responses. Physical beauty primarily activates dopamine pathways, reward circuits susceptible to tolerance that require increasingly stronger stimuli over time. Psychological connection activates oxytocin and serotonin systems associated with bonding and contentment. These systems resist tolerance and strengthen with repeated positive interactions, creating more stable attraction. When relationships face inevitable challenges, connections based primarily on physical attraction often struggle because they lack psychological foundation necessary for resilience. When the dopamine rush fades, as it inevitably does, relationships without deeper connection often feel suddenly empty. This explains why seemingly passionate relationships often collapse when facing their first serious challenges. Relationships built on psychological connection demonstrate remarkable resilience through difficulties. When someone consistently demonstrates emotional understanding during conflict, maintains confidence without defensiveness, and shares vulnerability appropriately, the connection strengthens through challenges. These qualities create psychological safety that allows for repair after inevitable ruptures, establishing patterns of successful navigation through difficulty. A 5-year study examining various predictors of relationship quality found that shared physical attraction explained only about 11% of variation in relationship satisfaction, while psychological factors, including emotional responsiveness, appropriate self-disclosure, and non-defensive confidence during conflict, accounted for over 42%. Even more tellingly, as relationships progressed, physical factors became increasingly irrelevant, while psychological factors became more significant. These principles work effectively across different relationship contexts. Professional relationships show similar patterns. Colleagues and clients report stronger trust with individuals who demonstrate these psychological qualities. Family relationships benefit equally, with emotional intelligence creating closer bonds than shared genetics alone. Even casual social connections follow this pattern, with people choosing to maintain relationships with those who demonstrate these qualities over those who are merely physically attractive. The neurological explanation lies in which brain systems these qualities engage. Physical attraction primarily activates regions associated with immediate reward processing that are highly susceptible to habituation. Psychological connection engages regions involved in processing social trust, safety assessment, and meaningful connection. These regions create more complex neural patterns that resist habituation and strengthen with consistent positive input. Brain imaging studies demonstrate this distinction clearly. When people view images of physically attractive strangers, reward centers show strong initial activation that diminishes with repeated exposure. When people interact with someone who demonstrates emotional understanding and appropriate vulnerability, trust and meaning centers maintain or increase activation over time. These distinct neural pathways explain why physical attraction often diminishes while psychological connection deepens. This understanding doesn't mean physical attraction lacks value. Initial attraction serves a meaningful purpose in bringing people together. The problem occurs when we overvalue this temporary connection while underinvesting in qualities that create lasting bonds. Recognizing the diminishing returns of physical attraction allows us to appreciate its role while developing psychological qualities that create more enduring connection. These psychological triggers create more lasting attraction than physical beauty because they engage deeper brain systems related to trust and meaning rather than just reward circuitry. They trigger neurochemical responses associated with bonding, create patterns that strengthen with exposure, and build resilience that withstands relationship challenges. This transforms attraction from something determined by genetic lottery to something you can actively cultivate regardless of physical appearance. The implementation blueprint, your 30-day transformation. What if in just 30 days, you could fundamentally transform how others perceive and respond to you? The research suggests that consistent practice of specific techniques can create noticeable changes in your magnetic presence within this timeframe. These aren't surface-level adjustments, but systematic developments of the psychological qualities that create genuine attraction. With structured implementation, you can develop authentic confidence, emotional intelligence, and strategic vulnerability in ways that fundamentally shift how you connect with others. The 30-day implementation blueprint provides a structured approach to developing all 3 psychological triggers through consistent daily practice. This approach focuses on progressive skill development, building a solid foundation in each area before integration. Each week emphasizes specific practices designed to develop one primary component while maintaining previous gains. This structured progression prevents the overwhelm that often accompanies trying to change too many behaviors simultaneously. Maintaining consistency with new practices presents a significant challenge. Our brains automatically revert to established patterns without structured implementation. You might experience initial motivation, followed by a gradual return to comfortable habits. This tendency exists because your brain optimizes for efficiency rather than growth, following established patterns unless given specific reasons to create new ones. Overcoming this requires both structured practice and environmental supports. Week 1. Building confidence foundation. 1. Morning practice. 2 minutes of expansive posture, standing with feet shoulder-width apart, shoulders back, chest open, and head level. 2. Skill building. 20 minutes developing competence in one area you value, with progress tracked daily. 3. Cognitive restructuring. Identify and challenge 3 negative self-statements daily, replacing each with constructive alternatives. 4. Wardrobe alignment. Wear clothes that feel authentically comfortable and aligned with your values. 5. Comfort zone expansion. Take one small action daily that stretches your boundaries, initiating conversation with someone new or expressing an opinion you might normally withhold. Week 2. Emotional intelligence building. 1. Daily mindfulness. 5-minute meditation focusing on breath awareness, expanding to include emotion labeling. 2. Active listening. 1 daily conversation focused completely on understanding rather than responding, maintaining eye contact and asking clarifying questions. 3. Emotional vocabulary. Learn 3 new emotion words daily to describe experiences more precisely. 4. Perspective taking. Select 1 interaction daily where you deliberately imagine the other person's perspective. 5. Emotion. Journaling. Document emotional patterns you notice, identifying specific triggers and typical responses. Week 3. Strategic vulnerability development. 1. Graduated self-disclosure. Identify 1 authentic sharing opportunity with someone at the appropriate trust level. 2. Boundary identification. Reflect on your comfort levels with different sharing types, documenting your personal green, yellow, and red zones. 3. Intention alignment. Check your motivation before sharing, ensuring you're seeking connection rather than validation. 4. Reciprocity awareness. Notice how others respond to your disclosures and adjust accordingly. 5. Vulnerability reframing. Identify situations where you can reinterpret vulnerability as courage and authenticity. Week 4. Integration of all 3 elements. 1. Presence practice. Select 1 important daily interaction for fully engaged presence, bringing confident posture, emotional attunement, and appropriate openness together. 2. Reflection. Document which elements came naturally and which required more conscious effort. 3. Balance assessment. Notice when you overemphasize 1 quality and make deliberate adjustments. 4. Context adaptation. Modify expression of these qualities for different situations while maintaining authenticity. 5. Feedback solicitation. Ask trusted individuals how they experience your presence. For consistency struggles, create specific plans for when, where, and how you'll practice each technique. For context challenges, develop situation-specific versions of each practice, creating professional, social, and intimate variations. For recovery from setbacks, practice self-compassion after inevitable imperfect implementations. Regular assessment ensures you don't continue practices that aren't producing results. Weekly progress evaluation includes reviewing which practices created noticeable changes, which felt most natural, and which created the most positive responses. This feedback loop allows for continuous refinement, ensuring effective practice. Track specific metrics for objective feedback. For confidence, note situations you navigate comfortably that previously created anxiety. For emotional intelligence, monitor improvements in accurately identifying others' emotions. For vulnerability, track genuine connection moments resulting from appropriate sharing. Integrating all 3 elements creates authentic connections by establishing trust, understanding, and genuine presence. The trust from consistent, confident reliability creates safety. The understanding from emotional intelligence creates a sense of being truly seen. The connection from vulnerability enables genuine intimacy. Together, these qualities create relationships characterized by depth and mutual satisfaction. Imagine how different your relationships could be just 1 month from now. Picture yourself walking into a room with quiet confidence, connecting effortlessly with others who feel genuinely understood in your presence. This transformation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more authentically you. Your journey toward magnetic presence begins today. Choose 1 technique from each trigger and commit to implementing it consistently. Small, daily actions create lasting change because they gradually reshape your patterns. As you begin this 30-day transformation, remember that each practice builds upon the others, creating a compounding effect that transforms ordinary presence into magnetic attraction based on authentic connection rather than physical appearance.